Mr. President, David Brookman, BBC News. Thank you very much for taking the time. A couple of questions. First of all, your reaction to the scale of the typhoon, the damage, the impact that it's caused.
We're still collating all of the data. There are areas where no communication and no electricity, but they're getting to be less and less sensitive. Somewhat isolated. Kumaratun, in fact, was part of the list of those isolated as well. The scale, basically, the challenge here is that you have a lingering typhoon. As opposed to just crossing our landmass in a matter of a few hours, the expectation for the effects of this particular typhoon are about 3 days long. There's something like 800 of our guys in several provinces that are deemed to be susceptible to the effects of rainwater coming down from further up north. Now, the challenge we have with a lot of our countrymen is that they don't seem to see the amount of rain that is falling. They think that it's safe already to go back to their communities. But we're preventing them right now because the expectations from tonight and up till tomorrow, a lot of this rainfall that fell on the northern portion of Luzon will be coming down and will be affecting all of these barangays near the major river systems. We're undergoing, the Baris Electric Cooperatives are checking their lines right now to ensure that by the time they re-energize, that there is no threat for electrocution for any of the communities. But still, the disturbance is still with us. It has not exited the landmass at this point in time. It has veered northeast, no? So it really will affect a lot of these areas in the region 1 and the Cordilleras. And that's what we're trying to gear up for. And of course, we want to prevent any spread of a disease. No? Leptospirosis is considered a threat, especially if we wade through the floodwaters. So government, I think, has responded pretty well. Casualties so far are hopefully will not climb. No? But again, we will not take any chance, and we will really try to ensure that we err on the side of being conservative and making sure that everybody is protected during this disturbance.
Looking further ahead, looking to the decades ahead, your government's obviously concerned about climate change and what that could bring. But the Philippines, like many developing countries, faces a difficult choice about where it gets its energy from. Do you think it's right that you should build more coal-fired power stations? Because many international scientists blame coal in particular for being one of the factors behind global warming.
Well, we actually have increased the share of renewable energy in the mix. At a point in time when we were starting out, solar was considered too high, that will bring up all of the electricity rates, will make us not competitive and will hamper the growth. But lately, the developments and efficiencies in solar power have enabled us to increase their share as far as the renewable energy portion of mix is concerned. Now, if we ban coal, there are no regasification plants existing in the country right now. We cannot go to gas. And as you know, renewable is so dependent on weather conditions. For instance, we go to wind. Are the wind funnels really working or not? Solar will get affected by cloudy conditions like this. Wave action is not yet developed sufficiently to become viable for the product mix. So what we're trying to do is ensure that we have the most modern coal plants that are in existence while we gear up for the gasification stage also of the increase of gas within the product mix. Now, having done that, I am sure we are still very open to renewable, especially solar, given that it will not dramatically affect the price. It should make us not competitive and will raise a hue and cry from our people about very high electricity rates, which are at points in time the highest in the region.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, Jam of Al Jazeera, you spoke to the public last week. You talked about the preparations. However, it's been over 24 hours already, and there's still so many areas that remain hard to reach at the moment. Given the magnitude of the area at all, are your resources at the moment stretched? There's questions of those areas that have not been reached. The armed forces in the Philippines and Kasiguran, they've just managed to start communication as well. Can you tell us exactly, at this point, what can you assure the public, given that it seems to be there's an impression that it's a bit slow with how things have been moving?
Perhaps I should ask the governor. No, the governor himself asked for something like how many food packs did you
this morning and how many have been delivered already? Because we're so slow.
7,000. So before we ask, they are already delivering these
Unreachable areas for rescue,
Well,
search and rescue, and
yung
service.
Cabanatuan in particular was reported to be isolated from both directions, north and south. A few hours, but we're here and we have actually delivered the same. Aurora has already a convoy coming from both Manila and San Fernando, and they're slightly behind us, but they're already on the way to Kasiguran. Baler and Kasiguran. Okay. Now, we're at Archipelago. We have all of these challenges before us. Electricity, for instance, still has to be above ground for various reasons. They get knocked out by the wind. Then you also have to ensure that you do not just re-energize without making sure that nobody will be susceptible to electrocution. Now, slow response time, I think we have pre-positioned not just the relief supplies but also the equipment with DPWH in so many different areas. But it's still going to be a challenge. In Gabaldon, I think, here in this province, you have very large boulders that are blocking the road. But the equipment is present and they will proceed to remove all of this debris. But it does take some time.
Sir, last follow-up question. What can you say about the lessons learned by the government? It's been over 2 years since Typhoon Haiyan struck central Philippines. I mean, there was a very big death toll at the moment, and it seems there's been a cultural shift in terms of awareness of evacuation and response. Can you tell us, for your government, what lessons also have been learned as well? If we look at we visited areas close to the river. There's a lot of them that have been evacuated. I mean, lots of calls. I mean, for your government, so can you tell us what the difference in terms of response this time?
The first that we didn't take for granted is the capacity of the LGU. No? The Secretary of Interior and Local Government actually called up all of the governors in the projected path of the typhoon to ascertain their amount of preparation and to ascertain also deficiencies that they have that we could fill up whilst we had time to prepare for all of this. That I think is very central. Location of pre-positioning of the relief supplies. No, a lot of it was pre-positioned in bigger facilities of the Department of Public Works and Highways. They had warehouses that obviously we believe were not flimsy structures because they were built by the department that is in charge of all government infrastructure. So their ability to withstand the elements was also strengthened. Communications, I think, has also been improved. You know, but again. Project NOAA of Pag-asa continues to be fine-tuned to the extent that, again, earlier I mentioned 800 barangays were clearly identified to be in danger because we are monitoring all of these major river systems. And of course, the Doppler radars are able to tell us how much rain will be dumped in what particular areas. So, but it's still, it's still a work in progress. This is the particular typhoon comes in when we're supposed to be in the midst of El Nino, and El Nino induces more higher temperatures in the prevailing waters, which increases evaporation, which increases the ability of the typhoon to gather all of this rain that it dumps on us. Now, the lingering aspect is, again, I guess, the new challenge. Instead of passing in a few hours and crosswise, it decided to visit so many of these provinces in the north. It was originally headed west-northwest. Then it shifted to northeast. No? So instead of going to the South China Sea, the West Philippine Sea, no, it decided to go up first. No? Go up first. And, well, I don't think it's really a U-turn. Hopefully it will not be a U-turn. But it did proceed in a track different from the previous typhoons.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.